Marzullo with a 1995 Lotus, a Carl Benz Award.
Hey, I'm out here with Vintage Motorsports. And
the story starts with my great-grandfather, Walter Elmar the first. He was Buick's first chief engineer, 1903 to 1918.
This is our 1918 Packard Twin 6. The body was built by a gentleman called Roubaix.
What you're looking at is a 1920 Packard Twin 6 7-passenger touring car.
hey, I'm out here with Vintage Motorsports, and I'm with
Bill.
And what is Vintage Motorsports?
Vintage Motorsports is a gentleman that has a collection of various race cars. And behind me is some of the crew. We go around to different tracks and race a couple cars in particular. This is one of the cars in the collection.
What tracks do you go to?
We go to Austin, Texas, to the Formula One track, Road America, in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. We're going to Watkins Glen in a week. And we have some events on the road course at Indy.
Okay. And what is behind me?
The car that's behind you is called the VAPORDYNE car. It was a project that Bill Lear, who was famous for the Lear jet, his dream was to bring a steam-powered car to the Indy 500. He was very conscious regarding pollution and things like that, and he thought that steam might be an interesting alternative. And he actually was working with the state of California on some steam-powered police cars and buses.
And when was this? What year?
He was doing that around 1967, 68. And then he decided that he wanted to go to Indy with a car. And so that's what this car represents. Unfortunately, there were some issues regarding steam power that they weren't able to overcome. And unfortunately, the car never met up to what they had hoped for. He felt strongly enough about the project that he bought property in the Nevada desert, and they were actually pushing dirt to duplicate the track of the Indy 500.
Really?
And then when they could not get the car to work successful,ly they abandoned that project.
And how long did they work on the project for?
It was for a couple of years. And some of the people that actually worked on this car had worked on the STP turbine car and also on the Shelby turbine cars that Carroll Shelby had brought to the Indy 500 in 1968.
I usually know what to ask. I don't know what to ask.
Well, what's kind of unusual about this car is it is four-wheel drive, and it did have an engine, and the engine was to operate a burner in order to produce steam. There was a condenser and a turbine.
Where was it at?
At the rear of the car. The boiler was over to the side of the driver, where the driver is. And the boiler would be right under here.
Okay. And this is all sheet metal?
Yes.
Okay.
Sheet metal and some fiberglass.
It almost looks like you know, in the Olympics, the snow thing, where they all line up in it.
Yeah.
But
yeah, it's.
Yeah.
Well, that's just it. We really don't have figures. They were never able to get the horsepower that they were hoping for, and at this point, we don't really know how much testing they were successful with. The story is that one of the engineers was a decimal point off when they were trying to figure out the size of the condenser. And that decimal point made the condenser that it had to be 10 times larger than they originally planned on.
Is this car race? Excuse us, we're in the middle of
and so back here is where, what goes on?
Yeah, that was for the air to go through in order to help cool the car. But Bill Lear was very successful in his other projects. He actually was instrumental in the very first car radios for Motorola. He also invented autopilot, automatic landing systems for airplanes, and the 8-track cassette. So if you can say there was a failure for Bill Lear, this was probably one of the very few. But people like that are driven by failure, and a lot of people figure it out. Right.
Maybe it was just the time, you know, the era that they struggle with maybe.
Right.
Well, thanks for taking the time.
Oh, you're very
and
welcome.
sharing this story. I've never heard of it before, so I'm glad I got to hear it. And so will everybody on US Classic Muscle Cars.
Okay.
And we'll have to come out and visit Vintage Motorsports.
Feel free to.
Thank you.
Thanks for your time.